macOS Big Sur is Apple's latest operating system launching this fall. Here's my hands-on video with the latest system. What's up guys, Dan here from VittorTech bringing you the latest and greatest from macOS Big Sur. This is Apple's latest operating system announced at WWDC with the first developer build out now. We're going to take a hands-on look at the actual system itself, so let's get into it. All right, so diving right into the system, we can see just right away from this desktop, it's a totally redesigned system, and that's not usually something that Apple does. However, with macOS Big Sur, it does bring this total change. Starting with the dock at the bottom, you can see it's quite a bit different actually. We've got the rounded corners around the sides, which resembles the home screen on the iPad a lot more. We've also got a lot of redesigned icons, bringing a lot more color and a lot more depth as well with a lot of those shadows. We see that a lot in Safari as well as in Messages, big time. Generally speaking, the dock still works the same. There's no real changes to it except for the fact that it just looks a lot different here. But overall, I think it's a welcome change. You can see that the login screen has also been redesigned with much bigger bubbles here, again, just making it seem more accessible, and as well, same with this rounded new design. As well, we've got the menu bar, so you can see that there's quite a few changes here. It's a lot more transparent and it really just grabs the colors from your desktop and pulls it in, so it's quite dynamic. And as well, if you hit any of these, you'll see there's a lot more breathing room and a lot more space on all of this, which makes you think that they could be launching a lot more into that touchscreen interface in the future. Overall, I think it's just going to be a lot less cluttered. You're going to just have a lot more breathing room and it'll be a lot easier to use. Then we move on to the toggles and sliders. So you can see here, if you click on things like sound, you've got a totally redesigned slider here. Again, it's a lot bigger, so you'd think that that does lead to more of a touchscreen, but we'll see if that happens in the future. And it just extends throughout the whole system. You can see again, a lot of larger buttons here, a lot of larger toggles as well, so it's not just the sliders that are changing. And fast user changing is totally different here as well. You can see it's a lot bigger. It actually pulls in the icons. So then we've got Control Center, and if you've had an iPhone before, this is nothing new to you, but it is welcome to see that they're bringing it to the Mac. So you can see all of your controls at a glance with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirDrop. If you click into any of these, you get a lot more details on them as well, which is really handy. And if you just click on the top, you'll see it just bounces right back. Same with Wi-Fi, you can see all of your Wi-Fi here. Do not disturb, even keyboard brightness, AirPlay display. You've got the slider for your display brightness as well. And then you've got sound that you can change as well, and then your music that's playing from there. So this is just a much easier way to control everything at a glance. You're not necessarily going to need to pin everything like I have at the top here if you don't want to. It's all just going to live within your control center. Another welcome change, and another thing that's really been ported over from iPhone, is Notification Center. So you can see by clicking on the clock here, it actually brings it open, very similar to what we experience with iOS. It has all of your notifications that are pinned to the top, and you can also pin widgets, again, very similar to how it works with iOS. Right now I've got calendar, screen time, weather, and podcasts on here, but if you hit edit widgets, you've got a lot of other options here from up next, and again, you can change that from small, medium, large, and just drag that right in, and then it pins in there. You can drag to your other one as well. It all works pretty intuitive. Also got notes, podcasts, your lists, daily activity, forecasts, and more. I imagine as time goes on, there'll be a lot more third-party app integrations here as well. And it is nice to see this implemented. However, I do wish that they would actually pin this into the desktop as well, so it's easier to use. It's nice to see these in Notification Center. However, I do think that if the widgets were pinned to the desktop, I would be using them more often. We've also got a lot of new interfaces that are coming up as well. We've got in Finder, you can see there's a sidebar here. It's a lot more colorful, a lot larger as well. And then on the top, we have that streamlined interface, and that's going to appear in a lot of Apple's native apps as well. They're going for this design that has all of your information held at the top here, with your sidebar as well. Launching Apple Music here as well, we've got a new Listen Now tab. Again, very similar to what we have on iOS 14, but it's still a welcome change. And again, you've got that top bar here, but then you also have your sidebar. Aside from that, one of the biggest things that I think people are going to notice is the changes to Safari. So we've got this new start page that used to just have all of your favorite bookmarks here, but now they've expanded that to show your frequently visited sites, privacy reports from websites that have been tracking you, your reading lists, and then from your other devices as well. You'll also see a new customize button here that you can click. You can totally customize this. So if you want to remove certain things, you can just uncheck the box. And you can also choose a custom background if you want, but I prefer to just remove it altogether. And to remove it, you can just uncheck it here. Now, Apple said that this is actually a lot faster. I think it's about 50% faster than it was before. In my experience, it feels about the same, but it's always been relatively snappy here. So you're also going to get to see, if you hover over a bunch of tabs, you're going to get a live preview of what that site actually is, so it's going to be easier for you to see. And then you can also just right-click. You can hit close all tabs to the right, which is new, so rather than just closing them one at a time, you can specifically select all of those, click it, and they'll just all be removed. And as well, just better buttons here as well. They're bigger and they relate a lot closer to iPad and iPhone as well. So if you are using those systems, you're not really going to be confused about what all of these do. And just like on your start page, so if you do click on the URL here, what pulls up is actually exactly the same as that start page in the same order. So you have your favorites if they're on your start page, frequently visited, reading list, and then from your other devices as well. Looking in Launchpad, you can see again just how many of these icons have really changed, been radically redesigned with those deep shadows, so they look like they're popping out a lot more. And it just extends through all of these, right? Preview looks different as well. And even a lot of these other apps that you're used to are all showing very different icons. I really didn't expect them to change all of these, but it looks like they did. I mean, even Chess has been redesigned, so it looks like that's sticking around. Now, some people have been asking about the Adobe apps, see how they've also been updated. This is not Apple related. They've actually just coincidentally changed that around the same time as the update to be this sort of rounded edge design. They do look a little bit bigger than the standard Apple ones as well, so they pop out a little bit more. Okay, so that's the most significant improvements to macOS. There's also a bunch of under the hood improvements, including performance and privacy updates. But let me know in the comments what you guys like most. As well, let me know, are you going to be updating your system as soon as it's available in the fall? Or are you going to be giving it a while to see if they work out any of the kinks that come up? Let me know all of that in the comments as well. Remember to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.